We have a massive topic today. I'm going to tell you every expense that went into building my studio. Before we go all the way through all the prices, I think it might be kind of funny for you to know what my budget was, what our budget was, my wife and my budget for this project. We estimated that it would cost $15,000, that we could do the whole thing for $15,000. If you're thinking around the same thing, you might be a little bit surprised. I'm just gonna start listing things. I'm gonna go down the list of items, and I'll keep the prices up on the screen so you can see as we go the numbers just total up. First expense, the kit itself. The total came out to $9,890. There was no tax, no shipping. So whatever you see on the website is the price that your receipt will say. It's the final price. And just a reminder, the studio kit that we bought is called the Arlanda XXL. They have a couple versions of the Arlanda, but we went with the biggest one that we could get so that we could fit the studio and the shed all in one. I've had a couple people reach out to me and tell me that the price has gone up a lot since I bought it, but I'm looking at Allwood's website right now and I still see the Arlanda XXL for that exact same price that we paid for it. After we placed the order, the first thing that we needed to do was build the foundation, and the total price for that foundation was $2,000. We ended up spending $1,400 on material, which was the wood for the retaining wall, gravel being delivered, rebar, weed barrier that went down below the gravel. So $1,400 for the materials, and then we spent a total of $600 renting the stand behind skid steer, which I rented 2 times. Once to move all the dirt out of the way, and then I rented again to be able to put the dirt back around the retaining wall once we finished that. So $2,000 total for the foundation. If you keep hearing some cute little noises, just know that it's Isla. She's just hanging out with me. Next expense was subfloor, and that ended up costing $400. You don't even have to add that to your kit, but if you plan on insulating your kit and having air conditioning, you want to be able to keep that temperature as close as possible. So we added it just as an extra barrier to insulate the building. Next thing that I'll talk to you about is the electrical. That ended up costing $2,000 for the service, and around $600, actually right at $600 for the parts. And just to give you a good idea of some of the other quotes that I got, most of the quotes, we got 3 quotes, were around $4,500 to $6,000. And then we had a family friend that we actually lucked out even being able to book him, and he did it for $2,000 kind of as a favor. So that price may not be representative to what you might find in the market. I was very naive with the electrical. I thought we would probably be able to do the whole thing with parts for around $1,000. I was just way wrong. Moving on to the roof. This was $700 for the service and $800 for materials. And if you remember, we had to take a little bit of a different route because our wood ended up warping for the ceiling, for the roof. So you could save a little bit of money there. We had to buy plywood to lay down on top of the building before we could roof it or shingle it. And so you could save a little bit of money there by using the parts that were included. Insulation, $900. This was another expense that I just underestimated how expensive it would be, and we went a little bit overboard, I should say. Yeah, we went kind of hard on the insulation. I just kept getting warnings from family members and friends saying, just spend a lot up front for insulation and you're gonna just end up being a lot happier down the road. But that was a tough pill to swallow, $900. That includes insulation for the ceiling, for all the walls, and for the floor. Next up would be the walls, the drywall and the wall that we ended up building to divide the studio from the shed, the wall that my bike is leaned up against right now. That ended up costing $1,100 in services, and sorry, I keep losing my spot, $450 for the materials. Yeah, that was, there was this whole timing thing that was really weird. I ended up taking a freelance job that was just super demanding and had a really terrible schedule. I was planning to do that myself. Not that I know how to do it, but I didn't. Yeah, anyways, I was gonna do it myself. I ended up getting that job and we just ended up hiring it out. So it really it wasn't a cost that what we had budgeted for, but at the same time, with this new job coming in, it made a lot of sense to just pay for it to be done. Oh my gosh, this is so much money. The AC unit, which you see right there, that ended up being $1,400. We got that from Costco. We actually initially bought a $1,200 one, but then our electrician was like, take it back. It was a 12,000 BTU, and it was only 120 volt, and this one's 220. 110 volt, this one's 220. And he was like, you just need to go spend a couple $100 extra and get this one because your monthly bills will be a lot cheaper. And so we don't really know yet. I haven't had like a full billing cycle where I've been running it regularly, but I'll be able to tell you more about that in the future. But yeah, $1,400 for the mini split. And it's incredible. Did you know that it's on right now? You can't even hear it. Like, legitimately, I cannot tell the difference between it being off and on, and that's huge for all the video calls that I'm on, because inside my house, it sounds like a train every time it comes on. Okay, I spent some money on my brother-in-law doing some work around here. He cut the door for the shed, and then he also built these shelves and fixed the door wasn't quite shutting well. He added trim around this room, just miscellaneous things that ended up coming to $1,300. So yeah, that was just another expense that I would have done that again. I would have done that stuff, but was working. So actually, I would not have cut the door. I was super intimidated to cut the outside of the building, but I would have done the other stuff. But again, I had that weird job. Staining the actual building, had that hired out as well. I was planning to do it, but same old, same old. It ended up costing $1,000 on, like, pretty much on the nose. He came out and did it all in one day, but with services and paint or stain, it came out to right at $1,000. Another thing worth noting is that Allwood actually recommends that you treat your building every single year. I don't know if that is totally necessary. This stain is supposed to last a lot longer than that, but they kind of suggest that you do it every year. I gotta figure out, I don't want to spend that much money every year to maintain the integrity of the building. So hopefully I can find a much cheaper way to do that. This is kind of a minuscule thing, but I did end up buying a pretty nice lock for the shed. And it is a keypad, like an industrial outdoor keypad, that ended up costing $130. And finally, the last cost was landscaping. And we just put quite a bit of money into that. And we spent $950 this weekend buying all of that stuff. So there you go. That's all. I got a little tired of being on the ground. And yes, she is wearing a bucket hat, because babies in bucket hats, there's nothing better. Nothing better. All right, so let's debrief. $23,920. That's legitimately $9,000 more than we planned to spend on this. Okay, now I want to answer a question that I feel like a lot of you will have. Could we have done it cheaper? Like, looking back over the whole process, were there some areas that we could have done cheaper? And that's kind of a yes and no. There were a few things that we spent money on, like having people help us with projects that I could have technically done myself. Like, maybe we could have saved $1,500 there. But at the same time, we got such a good deal on so many other elements, like the electrical, that I feel like it ends up equaling out. I will say, though, that there are definitely some areas that we decided to build into this that you don't have to. You don't have to put insulation in if you're using this for a potting shed or a woodworking space, whatever that might be. You don't have to add a wall, you don't have to add drywall, you don't have to add shelves or landscaping or even outdoor lights under the eave. That's all optional. So with that being said, we spent, you saw, around $24,000. And I would say if you took out some of those maybe luxury items or things that we decided to do, you could potentially do this for around $20,000. Hey, look who's here.
Greetings.
She just got home today. This is her first week back at work.
May I say that when Cody dresses Isla, she always has a button head on.
Always. I sent Anna Laura a text like an hour and a half ago, letting her know the final numbers. What do you think?
About the final numbers. The final numbers were a little bit shocking. I think ignorance has been bliss through this. To not be keeping up to date.
Yeah.
Quite.
Yeah. If we would have known that price going into this, would we have done it? I mean,
probably in the season of life we were in, probably not, because
having a baby on the way,
yeah.
I don't think we would have gone for it.
But am I glad that we did go for it? Am I glad that we did it? 1,000 million %.
Absolutely. And also, if we would have known how nice the actual kit was, that would have made us want to go for it even more. But at that time, we still thought the kit, we didn't know if we were going to get hacked or...
Like if it was real?
Yeah, scammed. That's the word I'm
Scammed.
looking for. It was all so sketchy, but now knowing how nice this whole kit is, I would do it again and again.
Me too.
Okay, final notes. I know I've been rambling. This is it, I promise. This place rules. It's the coolest building I've ever seen, and I love it. Not I've ever seen, but a reasonably priced building that I've ever seen. It's just incredible. We have friends come over, they're blown away. It's done exactly what we need it to do for our property. It's added a ton of value. I can say from experience at this point that you should be a little cautious with your budget for this thing. And it's nothing to do with Allwood. Like, that's just the sheer fact that you're about to build a building in your backyard or wherever you're going to put it. There are just a lot more costs involved than you think. You see that number on the website and you think, wow, like I could have that for that price. And what they deliver is insane for that price. Like the quality of the wood and everything is just miraculous that you can get a kit like this for that price. But all that said, you still have a lot of additional costs. And so I kind of just hope that this video just prepares you. To know that it is good to have a goal, to know where you're trying to hit and think that you can cut costs and everything, but at the same time, you don't want to get yourself in a situation where if it does go over budget, you're in trouble. So that's all I'm saying. Just wanted to leave you with my experience from all of this. I would love to know what you think about this information. It's been a little weird sharing this. It's a little embarrassing sharing how much money we spent on it, especially how naive I was. It's just not a good feeling to let you know that, but wanted to be insanely honest with you. Please let me know what you think. Comments, likes, whatever you want to do to just let me know that this was an interesting watch for you, and maybe helpful as well.